6-6 on Lijiang Tower. Okay. Okay. Yes. The woman that was Ukrainian. Sorry, why did I think she was Finn? Anyway, questions. Widowmaker-based questions, mostly. I'm sure we could take a couple of liberties. Let's see. I'm going to have a slip of coffee while they start coming in as well. Oh. Okay, which of the heroes synergize best with Widow? How would you build a team comp around her? It's actually interesting. There's a couple of ways you can play around Widow. There's actually a really cool team lineup that was used by, I think it was Method. Was it Method? I think so. It was a really cool team lineup that they were using, which was, it was a variation on a dive comp where they used Winston, Genji, Tracer, Widowmaker. And then I think it was like Lucio Ana. And it was so cool to see, because what would happen was Widow would land a shot, Genji and Tracer would go in, finish the target off, and Winston would jump in with them, and then you would just mob the enemy team super quick. And no matter what Widowmaker was hitting, it was just enough so that Tracer and Genji could go finish. Widow Genji is a really cool comp if you have a very high skill Widow and a very high skill Genji. A really, really, really cool comp, because what happens is, if you land a body shot, your average target's on 100 hit points. That means Genji has to do 50 damage before he can dash and get a kill, rather than doing 150 damage, which is much harder as Genji. Just because your shurikens do 30 damage each, he has to land 2 shurikens or a shuriken and a melee to actually finish off a target. Widowmaker plus Genji can spiral out of control so fast, so fast. The problem with Widowmaker Genji is it's a very low pressure team lineup, right? The enemy team, if they're smart, can just run into your team, and then Widowmaker plus Genji are very bad at getting sort of dove on, so you can't do anything about it. You really want to be using that kind of comp on maps like Watch Point Gibraltar, First Point, where you have a lot of time to sort of push around, a lot of time to determine attack angles. The enemy team's going to be playing very defensively, very far back, so you have opportunities then to sort of take your time, land the shots, and then Genji can get in and do the kills and start snowballing. But you have to really, really, really have faith in your DPS to make that work. Otherwise, you can play a very sort of aggressive tank-based lineup and just run Widowmaker instead of Soldier 76. You have the tanks just brawling, and then you just have Widowmaker on the sideline firing shots in. In general, like, the tanks are brawly enough to be able to win fights almost on their own. It's going to be a little bit difficult for them, but there's opportunities for them to do that. And then with the Widow on top, you're just getting picks on targets that can't quite defend themselves, or you're helping, punish tanks, put damage into tanks, that kind of stuff. With the new patch and the death of the tank meta, what do you think of Genji's role in the game? Still kind of the same as it was before. Like, the way I play Genji is very sort of opportunistically. You want to be poking, Dragon Blade, Nano Boost, go and kill everything. I think tank meta isn't quite dead yet. I'd like to see a couple of weeks before I announce like the post-mortem on tank meta. And I think Roadhog's still a very, very big deal. And Ana's still very prevalent. I think if Ana is their support as well, Ana's just very hard to kill for a Genji, so Genji's still going to be struggling in the current patch. Is kind of where I put Genji at the moment. It's just, it's not good for Genji at the moment. What will be the best way of improving game sense? Play a lot of games. You get used to the situations. Just also, like, when I say play a lot of games as well, when you're trying to improve, one of the best things to do is go into a game with goals in mind. So, like, for this Widowmaker player, for example, there could be a goal in mind where you just go, you play around a quick play and say, after every 2 shots, no matter what happens, I'm going to unscope. And when you start doing that, you start realizing, oh wait, there's a Soldier 76 coming at me this way, because I de-scoped and I saw him. I better reposition, readjust myself, set up to kill him, or I'm just going to run away. And suddenly when you start doing things like that, you'll notice improvements, you'll notice things working out and improving, and it really does work out. Just give yourself small little things, a single thing to focus on. This advice is sort of transplanted from one of my idols, Day9, who used to coach people in StarCraft, basically, doing what I did now, which is, he used to just say, yeah, just spend a game focused on not getting supply blocked. You can absolutely take the same mentality to Overwatch, and spend a game focusing on, in this game, I'm going to try and die as little as possible. I'm going to focus on my survivability. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to de-scope after every 2 shots. Okay, that kind of works. How did it work for that game? Well, I didn't feel I was doing enough damage, so I'm going to de-scope after 3 shots. Okay, that didn't work. I was dying in this situation. So then you suddenly get like this idea of, well, in this situation, I have to de-scope after 2 shots or 1 shot just to be able to see things coming. But in this situation where they're all occupied and I can sort of keep track of where the enemy team is, I don't have to do that quite as much. So it all kind of works out. Cantho is the type of crosshair. Can the type of crosshair you use make much of a difference, or is it just personal preference? It's mostly personal preference. I've seen different pros use different crosshairs. I personally like using the dot. I recommend either dot or short crosshair. I don't think the long one won't help too much, and that's just me being me, so yeah. It's personal preference. Just avoid the bigger crosshairs is what I would say. If you've never played Widow or just not very good with her, do you think it'd be quite daunting jumping in quick play to learn? Getting stuff for your team, each suggestion. Any suggestions on starting out? This is a great question. Yeah, of course it's daunting. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. It's why the Ana drill is actually quite helpful, because it's a way for you to practice outside of regular games and that situation. But honestly, you've just, at a certain point, just go into quick play, understand that it's quick play. No one gives a shit, really. After an hour, the people would have forgotten you, maybe, unless you were absolutely terrible. And if you're absolutely terrible, like I've played games with Widowmakers that were absolutely garbage. I can't remember any of them. I can't remember any of the names. I know it happened. I know that we have Widowmakers that were missing every shot, but I also understand that people want to play Widowmaker. Okay, quick play is the place to do it. It's the place where they can do it. Also, a great place to learn stuff is just the brawls. Going into brawls are just a great opportunity to play heroes you don't play often, because everyone's kind of just like, oh, whatever, it's a brawl, who gives a shit? And so it gives you an opportunity to go and play them. There are also, I think there is like a Widowmaker, there's like a Widowmaker, is it Widowmaker McCree or something brawl as well? And there's the defense only brawl as well. Like little opportunities like that just to play a practice, see how it goes. And yeah, just keep playing and just, like, you've got to be confident in picking Widowmaker as well. Actually, that's a very good point that I should have raised earlier as well. Is confidence is a huge impact. If you can't take the heat, like there's just going to be like any niche pick like Widow, Hanzo especially as well. You've got to be able to say, well, no, I'm just playing this. Like, I'm playing this. If it doesn't work, I'm going to swap off, but I'm playing this. What I used to tell people in TF2 was, like, if you're going to try and learn Sniper, I recommend learning just Soldier first, because you always want to have something good that you can swap to. Same is kind of true for Overwatch as well. Make sure you know a couple of other DPS heroes before you pick Widow. Just because if it doesn't work and you think, oh, well, I'm not really doing anything, I don't think I'm improving right now, I'm getting shat on because they have a Winston and a Diva and they're just leaping on me constantly, I'm just going to swap and play Soldier 76. That's perfectly fine. That's actually good practice. You want to be getting into that practice. But yeah, like, at some point you just got to balls up, even if you're a lady, just get your balls on and go and play her. And see how it goes. And if it goes badly, then fine. Then play her again, play her again, play her again. Get better, better, better. Watch your accuracy rise. And it all works out in the end. Like, even I get nervous. Like, I get nervous playing Widowmaker on stream, but I still do it. And I force myself to do it. And it's fun when I do, usually. Good maps for Widow, attack and defense. Any map with long sight lines is the obvious answer. I'd say, like, maps to avoid. Oasis, except for City Center. City Center's okay for Widow, but there's still a lot of blocked sight lines, but otherwise I think it's not a great map for Widowmaker, because there's just so many corners and so many ways of getting around that Widowmaker can't keep track of everything all at once. Other than that, like, King's Row is very good, Numbani's very good, Gibraltar is very, very, very good for Widowmaker. Gibraltar's second point actually on defense. If you start snowballing the hangar, Widowmaker can make it an absolute nightmare just to get in. Like, when the Widowmaker meta was happening, you would see a lot of stalls on Gibraltar point too, just because trying to get through the 4 doors. Widowmaker just has to cover those 4 doors, and it's so easy. And especially when you get TAC visor and stuff, you could just, not TAC visor, infra sight, you could just spot people coming in and just instantly kill. So Gibraltar's a very good map. There's a lot of good maps for Widow. I'd just say, in general, you want to be playing her on attack. The niche case for defense, Gibraltar, she's pretty good on defense. Again, just long sight lines. I wouldn't really say Numbani on defense. Maybe on the streets phase, but the streets phase is very hard to defend anyway, and I don't think it really worked that well. So yeah, not so great on that, maybe. 2CP maps, in general, I would say Anubis is very good for her. Hanamura, not so much. Hanamura can be very annoying. Hanamura, it's sometimes worth bringing her out on point B when you're attacking, because if you know where, like, the pagoda is outside, the large health pack in it, there's an area off to the side. I should probably load up Overwatch and show you guys this exactly. But most people defend on the high ground, right? That pagoda, like, if you jump on that little bit of high ground that only Widowmaker, Pharah, and, like, people who can move up can get to, you actually have a sight line onto the balcony. You could take shots at people on there. It's a really good way of dislodging people. Is there anything you would like for devs to fix with Widow? I would like an option to be able to turn off the prioritizing for the grappling hook. Like, if I could hold down, like, Alt and press Shift, for example, or, I don't know, just a button plus Shift, instead of just, like, grappling instantly, I would like an option to be able to just, for the grapple to go exactly where I'm telling it to go. Because sometimes you'll be trying to escape and then the grapple will hook to a ledge automatically, and then you just sort of look stupid. That's kind of what I like to see. I have like 200 hours on Torb. Sometimes I use it to attack, say, Route 66. I know it's not exactly a meta pick, some consider it a troll pick. Are you okay with doing a coaching or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. Send it in. I would actually love to see that. So yeah, send that in. Bye, everyone. like, send stuff in, guys. Don't ask, like, would it be okay seeing this? The only thing I'd say is, like, avoid sending in videos, like, right after I've done a video on a hero. So, for example, if you have some great Widowmaker footage, now might not be the time. Just saying, because I've just done Widowmaker, so I want to do other things. Like, Ana as well, I get sent probably, like, a ratio of Ana footage to other footage is probably 2 to 1. So, like, for every piece of footage on another hero, I get, well, 1 to 1. I get a piece of Ana footage and then a piece of another hero footage. So Ana's kind of kaleidoscoping over everything. Any requests for footage? Ana, Lucio, and Winston. Winston would be actually quite interesting. I think Winston would be pretty good to send in. So if you've got some Winston in game, send them in. Dealing with flankers on Ana when sleep dart is down. Grenade. Tuck in with your team. Heal, heal, heal. Like, sleep dart is honestly unreliable to deal with flankers. Out sniping Widowmaker's Ana tips. General rule of thumb, don't. Don't. You have to land 2 shots on Widowmaker. She can kill you in 1. And even if you land 2 shots on Widowmaker, by the time the second shot kills Widowmaker, she also has an opportunity to kill you. Your model is worse than hers as well. So Ana's like a very, like, slouchy shape, and her head's sort of right to the front. Widowmaker's like a stick with a circle on top. Well, like a stick with a bomb and then a circle on top. Let's be accurate here. And so, like, you're trying to hit the stick. She's just trying to hit your head. If she hits your head, you just die. It's a bad idea. In general, only try and do it when the Widowmaker is distracted with something else, or if there's, like, literally no other option. It's just a bad idea. You thought she was finished because there's a legendary finished sniper as well? Yes, probably true. Also, just in general, like, Widow versus Widow, like, try and catch the other Widowmaker when she's distracted. Try and pressure with the rest of your team. If the other Widowmaker is better than you, then try and avoid it. Like, there is a dominance thing with Widowmakers. There's absolutely a dominance thing with Widowmakers, and it gets into your head when you start losing. The enemy Widowmaker just starts getting a read on you and what you're doing, and you start tilting, you'll start making mistakes, and then you get so caught up in, you become what used to be called the weighted companion sniper. This happened a lot on 2 Fort, where you just have snipers sniping other snipers. What the fuck is the point? What the fuck is... all you've done is neutralize the enemy sniper, which is... It's important, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing to do, but you could be doing so much else elsewhere other than just focusing purely on the enemy snipers. You want to be eliminating other threats at the same time. The reason why you kill an enemy sniper first, the reason why you counter snipe an enemy Widowmaker probably before any other target, is so you are then free to go and kill other things. If you cannot beat the enemy Widowmaker, don't bother trying and just keep shooting in stuff. Let me scroll down. Is it worth it to grapple into a position from where you get a good angle on the point if you don't have an immediate escape possibility and run the risk of getting picked off? You're grappling where you can get a good angle on the point. Yes. Like, if your team's fighting on the point, then everyone's going to be so busy with dealing with that, you can get 1 or 2 quick kills. And in Overwatch, there's only 6 people on the enemy team. If you kill 2 people, it's easy. What's your favourite Widow skin? I actually run with the pink Widow skin, the rose Widow skin. I don't use any of the fancy ones. I like her base skin. It's a very nice skin. Let's not beat around the bush. And I think it looks really cool. So, yeah, I just run with the normal one. Otherwise, I do like the Countess skins. Any advice for playing around a teammate who is in... I am learning Widow and currently suck phase. Be patient. If they're adamant in learning Widowmaker and won't hear any different, then try and also find ways to support them. Try and find ways to encourage them, saying that this is working, this doesn't work. Make sure that you're waiting for us to engage. Make sure you're not trying to do much on your own, all that kind of stuff. What targets you prioritize as Widow? So there's a couple of different ways of looking at it. First of all, dealing with enemy snipers, counter-sniping is the most important thing, because while you're trying to shoot other people, like, while you have the scope up, you have a very slow movement speed, so you want to be getting rid of enemy things that can deal with you first. That's stuff like Widowmaker, that's stuff like Ana, that's stuff like... Zenyatta. There's a Pharah. Pharah is immediately one of your highest priorities. If they have, like, Pharah Widowmaker, let's say they have Pharah Widowmaker Ana, my priority list will probably be Widowmaker, Pharah, then Ana. Because Pharah is my job. If Pharah is getting shut down by Widowmaker, Pharah is going to vanish. Like, Pharah is going to go away. And my team is going to be assuming that I'm going to be the one killing the Pharah and probably dealing a bit with the Widowmaker. Honestly, at that point, I will probably be saying to my team, could we get something to deal with the Widowmaker so I can deal with the Pharah? Unless I am losing, like, if I'm losing to the Widowmaker, then I'll probably just swap to Winston or some shit like that. We'll go with that. Otherwise, like, healers, I just say be very careful about over-prioritizing healers. Like, if you miss, like, a Mercy 5 times, but you could have shot a Reinhardt who's not currently getting healed in the arse 5 times, you might have wanted to swap onto the Reinhardt at some point. Don't be afraid to take an easy shot if it's available. Like, don't stick to priority lists like hard and fast rules. They are flexible in a fight, and sometimes an easy shot is better than a quote-unquote more important target. Especially while you're learning. Like, if you can kill a target, then kill the target. That's the important thing. Well, GIF is so good. Good. I'm glad. Landing headshots. Readjust for a lot of head heights, so just set up for multiple body shots. In general, while you're learning, set up for body shots. I'm sure there'll be debate on that. I'd say set off for body shots while you're learning. There is no shame in body shotting people to death. Just because in Overwatch, headshots are kind of difficult. Like, mobility is a big thing in Overwatch. There's a lot of very mobile heroes. Getting headshots reliably takes a lot of practice, and you build that practice by being effective as Widowmaker and playing a lot, and the only way you're going to be effective as Widowmaker and player a lot is if you hit targets full stop. If you're trying to go for headshots constantly, that's not great. I would be waiting until you're hitting about 40 to 50% accuracy before you start really drilling down on getting headshots reliably. So that means basically 1 out of every 2 shots you're firing hits something at least. And also be very aware, by the way, when you're trying to track your own headshots, be very aware, very, very aware when you're trying to track your own accuracy of, like, did they have like a Reinhardt and a Winston, for example? Did they have Reinhardt, Winston, D.Va, Roadhog? Oh, look, my accuracy, like I played a game of Catching the Flag yesterday where my accuracy ended at like 83% because it was like Reinhardt, D.Va, Winston, I think as well, and the game was really short. That 83% is not indicative of my actual prowess on Widowmaker. I don't have a consistent 83% hit rate. It's because I was hitting big targets that are easy to hit that I should be hitting. If they have Genji, Tracer, Soldier, Zarya, Mercy and Lucio or whatever, you're going to be looking at like maybe even a 20% hit rate because Jesus Christ, there's not very many easy shots on that team, so it's going to be harder. So do try and adjust for like what the enemy team is when you are keeping track of your own hit rate, and then just keep an eye on that and then try and figure it out from there. Nice games today, and NG had 3 or 4 tanks. Yes, I was watching. How aggressively should you use Widow's grappling and offense capability? I generally use it towards the end of a fight. And if you are looking for jump shots, by the way, like do a jump shot at the start, launch into the air, look for a shot, and then try and land in a good position where you can keep doing shots. Just be careful about doing the jump shot over and over and over again, especially if they have a Widowmaker, because then it becomes like clay pigeon shooting. And the amount of times on like Hollywood when it's been Widow versus Widow, and I've just watched the enemy Widow like do the same jump over and over, and then I just like go, oh hi, bang, dead, free kill. So be very careful about that. If there's a target's low, don't be afraid to grapple into them and just like gun them down. At the end of the day, you want to kill things. Killing things is the priority. If you can't do that with your sniping rifle, do it with your frickin' rifle butt. Like, jam it in the face. Now that D.Va is more situational, meaning you have to position her better, since we're armed enough, when would you consider a good time to go off hunting a low health target if you see one, and who would you target? I'd just be a lot more careful when doing it. Like, I have to play D.Va more to really answer this question reliably. I just say you want to be a lot more careful when doing it. Avoid, like, charging into anywhere where they could have healers. You can still, like, outduel a lot of heroes, though. You can still outduel Soldier 76. I think if he doesn't land his rocket, you should be able to still win that fight, for example. He has to run, basically. So you want to be looking for stuff like that. Otherwise, I'd need more time on D.Va to really answer that question. Like, I've been sent some D.Va footage, I've considered doing it, but D.Va's now different. Like, you have to be a lot more careful in how you play. So, want to give it a little bit of time before we do coaching D.Va, probably. How should you know when to scope, stop scoping? I find I tend to tunnel vision too much when scoped. Well, that's exactly that. You kind of answered your own question. You tunnel vision too much, so stop scoping quite so much. And then just experiment around with it. Try, like I said, unscope after every 2 shots. Just give it a try. Turn off toggle. It doesn't work in Overwatch very well. Like I usually toggle, but toggle works great in games like Battlefield, where you can snipe from like 3 miles away and be fine. But works worse in Overwatch when there's so much more mobility. You know, in Overwatch, in Battlefield, you're not going to have a gorilla jump on you from the other side of the map. In Overwatch, that's going to happen. So you want to be aware of where that gorilla is coming from. Yeah, that works better. Let's see. Do we have more questions? Oh man. Oh man, here we go. Kill priorities for Widow, excluding supports. For example, go for the tank and try and hit a blinking Tracer. In general, you want to be trying to nail Tracers whenever you can, just because she dies very quickly. Like, if you don't have anything else to hit, then sure, you're going to be hitting Tracer. Tracer is actually very easy to hit when you learn how to hit Tracers, and you learn like the blink distance. It actually gets very easy, because you only have to land 1 shot and she dies. So don't be afraid to take shots on Tracers. It's actually, like, Widow versus Tracer becomes a very, very complicated matchup at the higher levels. You can basically punish the Tracer anytime she tries to do anything too liberal. Guys, are we having a domestic in chat? Ugh. Ugh. You need 6% chance to kill a headshot, 200 hit point hero, 84. Okay, great. 84%, 250, you can't one-shot a Bastion for full health. No. You can leave him on 5 health, though, which means you just hold left mouse button and kill him. 60% charge. 6% charge is what, like 0.6 seconds? Nothing. Do a Reaper coach. Send in Reaper footage, Malak Billis. I actually had, like, I think the last Reaper footage you got sent in was back in the Christmas event, and I almost used it for today. I might use it tomorrow. We'll see. See? When I'm playing someone like Ryan, also, guys, just be a little bit careful with, like, too much chatter during question time. I ask questions, but just be a little bit careful with that. When playing someone like Ryan who can get Widow on high ground, what do you recommend doing? Just hold the barrier against her? Yeah. Like, if you're playing Reinhardt, that's exactly the situation, by the way, when fire strikes are very punished. So don't, like, fire strike randomly when there's a Widowmaker around, because that's when your supports die, because it's very telegraphed, and it gives Widowmaker enough time to land a shot and kill someone. So when there's a Widowmaker around, try and keep the barrier facing her, try and keep people tucked behind your barrier. That's also when, like, if there's an enemy Widowmaker, you want to be playing very defensively, playing around corners, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I think these are the last two questions we're going to do, and then I'm going to wrap up for today with coaching the many, play some ranked hopefully, and go with that. I may have missed this in the stream, but when using Venom mine is a preferred location to put it, e.g. using it as a trip mine versus launching it into the melee. The question you want to really be asking is, are there routes that I'm afraid of someone coming through? And if someone's coming through and gets hit by the Venom mine, can I realistically escape? Oftentimes, I find the answer to that question is honestly no. Which is like, it's very rare that I will actually use my Venom mine as a tripwire to keep an eye on behind me. I prefer using my ears for that. I mean, I'm wearing a nice headset. I have Dolby Atmos turned on for most of my games. I can hear stuff coming. So if I can hear it coming, then I don't need the Venom mine. Where I'm going to put the Venom mine is somewhere where someone's going to trip it, and if they get down to 125 hit points, well, that's just one full shot and then a quick follow-up shot, and they die instantly. And it's like, okay, so I'm going to put it where people are coming out as a warning of where they're coming around the corner, that kind of thing. I'm also not afraid to launch into the melee. I actually have a play of the game. I think I can actually show you guys if I find it. If I find it. Might be kind of tucked away. 3 miles away, come on. YouTube. I search my own videos in some way. I want to show you guys this example of launching into the melee. Meanwhile, how can you work around slow speed during scope? Don't say scope for too long is the answer, really. There we go. Here we go. This is like from the beta. Let me, before this actually plays out, let me make sure it's properly centered. And it's a very exciting play of the game. So why was this play of the game? Well, the answer is, they come in, Venom mine goes off, okay, it's during a Transcendence, but that hits like 3 people, so that's 3 times 75 damage. Actually, let's keep it on because I like the dog song. And then I launch another Venom mine in, and it hits like, and then it, for some reason Triggered appears at the top, so I start looking up. And then it hits even more people, and then they all start dying. So they all start dying while taking damage from a Widowmaker, which triggers play of the game. That's like the power of launching it right into the offensive. Don't be afraid to use it aggressively. Like, it's honestly a better tool when you to deal damage than use it for awareness, in my mind. Because you should be more aware, and you should just be moving around enough where awareness doesn't matter that much. Okay. I think that's about it for today. So thank you for watching to the end. If you do want to send in footage, I'm going to scroll all the way down. Holy shit. If you do want to send stuff in, you know where to send it here. It's Coaching the Many, OAMreviews@gmail.com. Include the hero name and the rank in the title. I take it from all ranks. I've done Coaching the Manys on like 4K rated games before. I've done Coaching the Many on a 500 rated game that was interesting, to say the least. So don't be afraid to send it in. The only thing you should be afraid of is the fact that you're on stream. You notice people are generally kind. People are generally nice enough. Chat, hopefully you're nice enough. I know some people are saying, wow, you should have swapped off ages ago. And like, it's kind of true, but you know, this guy made his decision. Okay, let's focus on trying to improve that. Why was his end moving so slow in his ultra in that clip? It was the beta. That buff hadn't happened yet. Yeah. Okay. So that was it for Coaching the Many. Say goodbye to YouTube. And yeah, do the video have to be a comp video? Yes. That's actually one of the things I will say. Make sure it is a comp video. The reason why is just people play more seriously in comp. There's more structure in comp, and that structure is like gives me room to maneuver. In quick play, you just have people doing what the fuck ever, and so there's no structure. So this learning doesn't quite help as much, if that makes sense. Otherwise, yeah, thank you for watching to the end, YouTube, if you're sticking with us. If you're on Twitch, don't go anywhere. We will be playing some ranked after this, just on my main account, maybe with Ryan and Mist if they're around. And yeah, should be pretty good. Do you still good at teleporter shield gen hunting? Absolutely, yes. And yeah, thank you for watching to the end. Toodles.